This conference will now be recorded.
All right, so Conservation Commission called to order on the 13th of April, 6:04. Hi, everybody. Nice warm weather we're having. We're going to get some rain this week, so good for conservation. Hope everybody's doing well. We are, let's get an approval of the minutes first on March 9th of 2021. We had a regular meeting. Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved. Karen?
Can I get a second? Somebody give me a second. Okay. Any discussion? Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstain, perfecto. All right. Kelly, how you doing?
Fine.
Doing well.
Doing well. Training kids now to be woodsmen?
Yep. Yeah, I started for mice. Now I'm formally helping to coach them. But yeah, I started last semester, but then the governor shut everything down. But now we're back in action.
So
But
begs
on
the
a good
question,
way.
just begs the question, how much wood can a woodchuck chuck? If a woodchuck could chuck wood.
A lot of wood. we go through a lot of wood. All right. So I'll just head through my report really quick. And then if anyone has any questions, just interject. Starting with the Arbor Day, Tree City USA. I actually met with the mayor today to plan our Arbor Day celebration. It looks as though we are going to be heading down to Juliet Low Park. I've already checked that out with our arborist contractor as well that we typically use, and they're planning on donating many services to the town. So there's some stumps to be removed, some dead wood to be trimmed, defective trees that we're going to remove and replace. So we're going to really revamp the park, do a lot of tree work on Arbor Day. So really excited. I think we'll be planting 4 trees, 3 of which will be replacements and 1 will just be an additional. So still hashing out all the details, but the mayor's totally on board for doing the Arbor Day proclamation. And hopefully that will be the last thing we need for our Tree City USA application. I did reach out probably a month or so ago to, I think the title is the State Urban Forester Coordinator, something like that. I think her name is Danica. And she hasn't gotten back to me, but she is new in her position, so she's still trying to get up to speed. I think there was a gap in that position, so we do need their support as well when we do apply, but I've talked to her a little bit, but not about this yet, so I will touch base with her and see how she's doing on that. And then as soon as, I know we're not going to meet before Arbor Day again, so as soon as we have our proclamation and our celebration all figured out, timing and all that, I will send everyone an email so you know if you'd like to attend. I'm hoping to order, the Arbor Day Foundation has these little tiny tree seedlings that you can buy. They're like $60 for 50 of them. So I'm hoping to buy a bunch of those and be able to give away just little dogwoods. Hopefully get people planting them, nurturing them and see how they grow on their properties. And dogwoods are kind of easy because they're a little smaller, so they can maybe be planted in more locations. I know some people have some tight lots, so an oak wouldn't do so hot. So hopefully those will be able to come in time as well. So I'm pretty excited. I think from what I don't know if we've ever celebrated Arbor Day in this capacity before, but hopefully this is something we can start doing every year, is my hope. Any questions on Arbor Day, Tree City USA?
Nope. Sounds good.
Cool. Moving on to the open space grant update. Not too much movement on this. We are still working on trying to coordinate an appraisal for those Beaver Dam parcels from that 2017 grant that we received. Right now, one of the last remaining appraisals that hopefully has time to do it. He's coordinating with DEP to see what exactly they need, and hopefully he can get that done for us so that we can move forward on acquiring those parcels and incorporating them into Roosevelt Forest. So that's kind of in the works. And what other grants? The Tomasco parcel that we received the grant for last year, adjacent to Chanda Wigwam Park. Excuse me. I still haven't been able to make contact with the property owner. He is not returning my calls anymore. or responding to my emails. So we're going to have to, I think that Joe Gresco may know where he lives, so we may go knock on his door and just say hi and see if everything's okay. Because I'd like to close on that grant, which will help our success in future grant applications if we could close on one. Which leads me to the last grant. The current grant period still has not been, excuse me, announced as far as I'm aware, but we are still working on trying to make a connection with the property owner of the marina boatyard at Beacon Point. So if any of you folks know this property owner, that would be really helpful. If you know anyone who knows him. EPA is also trying to get in touch with him because they're trying to do a waymark removal action on his property. And we do think it is a he, at least. We got that far. Because it is a business name I can't think of off the top of my head. But if you guys know of anyone who knows anyone, reach out to him. We're trying to get in touch with him. But our second best shot is the Fresh Pond property. And I've been talking with Jim Casey, who is in charge of the Stratford Land Development Corps. And he's on board, just kind of waiting for us to pass on Beacon Point if we can't make contact.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Isn't that McNeil?
No, I heard that McNeil sold it years ago. I don't know how long ago. So who was I talking? Someone, I think it was Richford that mentioned that McNeil, his family owned it way back. This is I think the LLC is like Hudson and Jazz or something. It's an LLC.
Kelly. McNeil, the chief of police or something now?
I think he is, yes.
Maybe he knows.
Can we find out who the principals are in the LLC?
I was going to say, because you
and
can,
I believe we've, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, if you contact Department of Revenue Services, they should have the LLC information.
I'm sorry.
We've sent them mailing. Go ahead. Sorry. I was just gonna say we have sent them mailings, but they have not responded. We're looking for like a phone number at this point. If we could try calling, or I'll just have to drive by their property and hope to find them outside someday. But
Just wait till garbage day, go through the garbage, you'll find a letter, an envelope, something in there.
Is that legal?
Well, Greg, we also
It's garbage. I watch CSI. Once it's in the garbage, it's public domain. All right. I don't know. I been by the property a lot. I've seen movement in there, but never ever seen people. We did the cleanup down there a couple of years ago. Went by there, cleaned right up to the back of the property. Didn't see any movement at all in there. So,
are you saying that that property is owned by the McNeil family?
It was.
I believe it was formerly. It's certainly not now.
Because we have a Mike McNeil, who's Joe McNeil's brother, who's a member of our club.
Okay. I mean, if they happen to know who the property was sold to, I'm not sure. But feel free to get the buzz out. We don't want to get him in trouble. We just want to buy his property for open space.
Right. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he may not be feeling that same thing. All right.
Yeah, he probably thinks we're coming
Laura,
after him.
we could probably get a hold of Mike, Laura, and just ask him if he knows. It's not a big deal. So,
okay. All right. Well, appreciate you guys getting the word out. If not, we have plenty of other options out there.
Fresh Pond is a great property.
Mm-hmm.
The Fresh Pond property gets me excited. I don't know. It's just so cool if we could do that.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
All right. That's all I got for the open space grant update. Waterfront access points. I've received many of your reports and photos, and some of them have been coming in kind of not last minute because we've had no deadline, but I just haven't had a chance to coalesce all the data together yet. So I was hoping to have it all done by tonight, but I'm going to need a little bit more time because some of them came in a little last minute. So, so that's that. So stay tuned for more. And if you haven't sent me your stuff, please send me anything else you may have. Bill, I don't know if you sent me anything, not to call you out.
Wow. Wow.
Actually, I have it right here. You want to look at it? I brought it. Actually, the one that I think we're going to have to discuss at some point in time is Riverdale. I noticed that a majority of the private landowners on Riverdale now use a significant portion of town property.
Okay, I'm assuming that we're gonna find some of that on all of these, and we'll have to figure out how to navigate them when we get there.
I will send you the information. I apologize.
That's okay, not a problem.
Well, that's okay. As long, again, I thank everybody for getting it into Kelly. It was a good I still think it's a great project. What Kelly, do you figure once you get all the information and coalesce it, what do you think we want to do with it after that?
I think that we should. My thought was to kind of go through and maybe prioritize some I don't want to call them properties, some are right of ways, but kind of prioritize, see if there's some low hanging fruit that we could just spruce up a little bit to make it a little nicer, and just kind of maybe drop some that are just kind of too far gone that we're like, we don't have the time or budget or effort to put them on a map. And then my goal was to generate some sort of brochure or map, and hopefully MetroCog can help us with that and do it in GIS and just put numbers where everything's located, and we can just kind of make a little blurb of what the access is and some of the key amenities at each location, and put that on the map, or put it in with it in a key to the map or something like that, and get it on our website, get it out to the public. Yep. That was what my vision was, but this is your commission, so whatever, if you guys think that's a good idea, everything.
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead, Ange.
And I know you're probably going to throw rocks at me after I say this, but maybe we should do this twice a year, once in the spring and once in the fall. Just to see, because, I mean, I was texting Kelly back and forth about the area I checked out, and I think sometimes, again, even if we just go twice a year, just kind of a quick check-in and see what's going on.
Sure. I don't see why not. I mean, again, and if there's something dramatically changed, it doesn't have to be in the same scope as what we just did, but just to check it and see if there's any major changes, that wouldn't be a problem at all, I don't think.
Yeah. Just do a quick check, and just, again, like, Phil was saying, if anybody's accessing or using something illegally, just so they know somebody's watching and checking. So.
That's a great idea. And again, I agree with Kelly. I think this, once it's done, we get it out in virtual and maybe paper form. The state did the hiking trail thing, right? Didn't they just do that, or was that the MetroCog did that?
That was the
state. So basically, we just did that in the town. We just worked with them on that. So now working on the water access just seems to be a nice segue right over. So perfect.
Actually,
I think it's a great thing.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Andrew. Yep.
No, I was gonna say, I met one of the inland wetland people from Milford. I did a hike there. They built the boardwalk over near John F. Kennedy School in that pond area behind it, like past 95. I forget the pond, Beaver Brook, I think. And Milford put up a whole series of maps, again, where you can go and print it off and go hiking.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think that's how there are some spots that I know other people have seen that some of the neighbors don't want them walking down to the access points. So that's an interesting, some interesting points there. I just anecdotally told Kelly when we went, there's one off of, was it Ocean and I can't Pauline and Ocean.
Oh yeah.
We went there and you look down and you can't see there's any access point there until you look way down in and you saw between hedges look like a pathway and down the driveway. And as we were standing out of the car, a woman pulled out of the driveway and she stood there and stared at us for 5 minutes. She just in the car stared. And finally, she drove away, and we walked down the trail, and it's right to Russian Beach, very nice, steps and everything. But it's one of those secrets that only the people I think that are in the neighborhood know about it. And I don't think that the neighbors want anybody to know about it. So interesting, very interesting. Hey, Cassandra. Cassandra's on, just to let you know.
I don't know if you guys saw, Joe Gresco has also joined us.
Hey, Joseph.
Mr. Chairman, how are you? Sorry for being late.
That's your tardiness is accepted.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Usually
So
let the
waterfront
hedge,
action point. What? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say they usually let the hedges grow on Pauline on
Yeah.
both of the homeowners so that you can't even see the beach from there. And the town every couple of years has to come in and friggin' whack them.
It was pretty amazing to find something in your town that is that much of a secret, and it was interesting, very interesting. I found it. We did have to run for cover. We did go through quickly just in case there was snipers, but again, it's interesting, very interesting. And I think this is something the Conservation Commission doing with you, Kelly, and getting this out to the public. That's a perfect example of what we can do and should do for the people in the town of Stratford. So kudos to get it done. All right, Brownfields update.
Not too much going on here. We did, well, kind of. We did, myself, Economic Development, Mary Dean, and our grant writer, Greg Riley, just submitted a nearly $1 million grant toward the cleanup of contract plating. I believe that was last Wednesday. I'm in like a time warp, I feel, but I think it was last Wednesday. So that was a pretty big effort on our part, and we're fingers crossed. That was with DECD in Connecticut, so not nationally competitive, so we have a little bit of a better chance there. And then we are hoping to find out on the 2 EPA grants that we submitted last October. We're hoping that they're going to announce that within the next month, is what everyone's saying. So fingers crossed on those as well. But other than that, we don't have any movement on any other brownfields at the moment. All of that is just because we are kind of held up with funding and waiting on POs and proposals for different things. So nothing's really happening, just a lot of administrative paperwork at this point. But the next action that we will have for certain, I'm waiting on a PO for the underground storage tank removal at the Board of Education building and on the center school property, which is also the former center school, I think. And that will be the next project that I'll be working on for the brownfields. Any questions on brownfields?
Nope.
Nope.
So when
All
you apply for the
Um,
grant, I'm sorry.
Yep.
When you apply for those grants, do you need to specify that that's the project that you will be using the grant money for, the underground tank removal from center school?
The center school grant we received in 2015, I want to say, but that was for the actual demolition and remediation of the newer, I guess, center school that was there. And we have completed that work, but because the Board of Education building is contiguous on the same property as center school, and we have some money left over, DECD is allowing us to use those funds to remove the underground storage tank. So I guess they weren't initially, those funds weren't initially, I guess, for that underground storage tank removal, but because we had the extra funds, they allowed us to use that. But on a more global question, I guess, for grant applications, some grants make you specify what you're using the funds for, like the DECD grant we just applied for. We had an entire budget spreadsheet, and we had to say what site we're using on what portions of the cleanup we will use those funds on. Whereas one of the EPA applications we applied for last year, it was a community-wide assessment grant. So it was for assessment work, not cleanup work. So it's investigating potential properties that may be contaminated. And we just kind of highlight a few properties that we are hopefully hoping to use the grant funds for, but we're not locked into that. Whereas cleanup grants, usually it's very specific. Does that answer your question?
Yes, and I have one last follow-up. What is that parcel that you are targeting with for the DCD Brownfield grant that you just applied for? It has the name of property. What's the property?
Former contract plating, 540 Longbrook Avenue, adjacent to OU4 of Raymark.
Got it.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And then we did one of the EPA grants we applied for last year was also for cleanup funds for $500,000, which is the max you could apply for. And that's the one that we're hoping to hear back soon. So fingers crossed. Yep. You're welcome. All right. If there's nothing else on brownfields, moving on to Project Green Sweep. Definitely a little bit rushed this year. We weren't sure what the status was with COVID, if we could have it, blah, blah, blah. But here we are. We have announced it on May 1st from 8 a.m. to 12 noon. And any big changes? I mean, you folks have all been involved in the past, I'm guessing. All right, cool. Yep. Working on finalizing some of the locations. I have an old list of locations from like 2017 or 2018, I think, but I think we might revamp that and add a few, change a few when folks check in. I guess the only real changes this year are there's going to be no food because of COVID. There's going to be no t-shirts. We're going to have reusable water bottles, so it's more one size fits all. You can kind of take it. And I think we're also going to, for check-in, everyone gets to keep their pen, so we don't have to sanitize them in between. And folks just have to wear masks at check-in. And then once you go off on your own, use your discretion, I guess. You'll be outside, so you should be able to distance yourself pretty well.
Aaron?
Any other? Yep.
Aaron, listen.
You're muted.
I think.
Turn on your microphone.
Are you going to be providing gloves and garbage bags and?
Yes, I'm working on that. I'm hopeful that Home Depot will come through on that donation. The chair of the Waterfront Harbor Management Commission, Ed Cinto, also works there, and he's working on trying to get us a donation. I also did reach out to the Clean Earth Project, who I'm not sure if you folks saw. They did a cleanup on Russian Beach recently, and I was hoping that they would be able to partake and help us out. But they have another cleanup scheduled for that day, which is a great conflict, I think. So next year we're going to try and partner a little bit better with them. But they are donating 300 bags, 300 garbage bags. So we were hoping for 1,000 garbage bags and about 300 gloves or so. So I'm hopeful that Home Depot will come through. We just asked them over the weekend, so I'm gonna see how that goes. Worst case scenario, we have some funds, not a lot, but some that we could purchase some with, and hopefully get some donations in other areas.
So for next year, the donation request time is early January. So if you're going to have an event, you want to make a request to the corporation headquarters in early January for the donation, and you're much more successful. So just so you know that for your own.
That's super helpful. There was no this is technically my first year doing the green sweep. I've volunteered there in the past a long time ago, but the job didn't come with the playbook. So trying to scramble and figure everything out. But as I'm going along with a lot of these things, I've been writing memos on like countdowns, like 1 month to the event, do this, and all that kind of stuff. So we'll be better suited for next year. But part of it, I was waiting on the Housatonic River cleanup because we do them on the same day.
Right.
And they have to set their date based on the tide. So there was a little bit of a delay there waiting for them to meet and set the date. So next year, I think we're going to start planning in the winter, probably December or so. So we're not scrambling like this.
I'll be there to help you, God willing, that the shot doesn't take me down. I usually help sign everybody in, so as long as all goes well, I'll help you sign people in.
Perfect.
Okay. Laura, do you have something? Or Cassandra, somebody?
Yeah, I just want to ask from I guess as a business and as a donator standpoint. So how you're saying you don't have as many funds. So usually we do donate, and not to say it like this, but like, to get our names on that t-shirt. So then the logos there and whatnot. And obviously our presence at the cleanup is, something like that. So I just wanted to know if you were experiencing any side effects, not just because of the delayed start, but without having that cross marketing for people who volunteer and donate for that reason. And, considering like there's no reason for me to donate as a company to get on that logo t-shirt, what else would you offer someone to do at this point, considering the late sign up?
Social media.
Yeah, we talked about that with the Housatonic River cleanup because we won't have a shirt or anything, and I'm not sure that we're going to have the banners either because it's such a tight deadline. I haven't been in touch with too many donors. Most of them are going through the Housatonic River cleanup, but I was offering the Clean Earth Project just to print out their logo and keep it up at even if it's smaller, and keep it up at the sign-in. And at the kickoff, I was just planning on giving a verbal shout out to their donors. So not much this year, unfortunately. It's just too tight of a deadline. So we're kind of like, we understand if people can't donate this year because you're not getting anything. So I guess it is what it is. We're at this point, I'm happy that we can just have anything because COVID put the kibosh on it last year. So not a great answer.
Yeah, so Kelly, if you had somebody wanted something like that, those yard signs with the plastic, which is always not good, but there's the yard signs you put up, those turn around pretty quickly. So if you had a sign up area and you had the donors and you just had them stick the metal in the ground with the yard signs with their thank yous to these people, that's pretty quick turnaround. And if you want, I can talk to you about that. I even have the metal things that we have so we don't have to buy them. What we have to do is get the how many people are donating and just put it on thank you to, and you stick that all on the ground right around where the sign-in table is. Just make sure we take them away at the end of the day so they don't get washed away into town. But that's an easy and quick way to do it. And I know we can get those done. I can get those done quickly. So let me know.
Okay.
And I just want to circle back and say, since we're not going to be investing money as a company into that marketing for the logo and whatnot, if you could just reach out to us and let us know if Home Depot doesn't pull through or something else that we could monetarily contribute towards considering, besides just showing.
Yeah, Kelly, can you let us all know? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say if she can just let us all know. I mean, because I have a business myself, and I can reach out to other business owners as well. If anybody else.
Madison Supply in Bridgeport.
That's true.
Yeah, that's right. What's his name? Yeah, they've done really help with us a lot, right? That company. Joe,
Yeah,
what was it again?
We buy a lot of equipment from them, and we did. I'll donate whatever we have left at the town yard. I probably have 150 bags or something.
Okay, cool.
What was the name of that company?
Madison Supply.
Yeah. And I have a river cleanup this weekend at in the park. And if we have bags left over, anything left over, I'll grab them for this too. So
Great.
Actually, pretty good. Bye.
Okay, so maybe Greg, if you and I can touch base about those signs, and then Cassandra, we'll touch base offline too for donations as well.
okay, cool. All right.
Cool. All right, cool. And most importantly, if everyone can just show up and come help clean up, that would be the best, I think.
Yeah, you had talked about sites and things, and I think we had talked about maybe pinpointing areas. Was that what we talked about with this before? We just wanted to spread people out because we had talked about being certain high visible areas to do this, like Worcester Park and Longbrook Park, and these areas that kind of were, instead of just spreading people out all over the place. I don't know. We've done it before, mostly along the river, right, Karen? I mean, I know we've done it mostly along the river.
Yeah.
A lot of it is along the river, but also along the main entry areas to the town, where it seems that a lot of things are discarded, as people are coming in. It's, like right over by BJ's and in that area, not the private property, but the public areas. Also down by the 95 entrance and exit, and down by the airport, Tavern Rock Road and Holly Lane. But over there, you need police support to protect the people that are cleaning. So you may want to talk to Joe McNeil about that. And Kelly, just so you know, when people sign in, they ask, 90% of them ask where you need somebody. So if you have target areas that you want done, if you could leave a list of those target areas, that's really helpful. Because we send people there that come that don't have a destination. Also by the railroad, alongside the railroad area, it gets cleaned a lot. And I'm trying to think of where else the big spots are. I would ask the guys at Public Works.
Yeah.
Like
So
near
you're
two
kind of
roads,
just
that
saying
area.
Stratford.
What was that?
So you're kind of saying it's all Stratford, just Stratford.
Yes, and a lot of those that you just listed are on the list that I found in Tina's file. So and I think we'll maybe want to expand or change a few of them, but for the most part, they'll be about the same areas. And
Yeah.
coincidentally, Caitlin Shake had already scheduled a cleanup in Longbrook Park, so for the same exact day, and I wasn't aware of it, and so kind of, I don't know if it's good or bad,
Well,
but whatever it is,
Well,
it's nice
we'll
because
just
she'll be
co-opt
already
it.
there.
We just co-opt it. It's part of
Yes.
Project Green Sweep.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
so it's also she's already rallied volunteers to go to Longbrook, so so that's kind of covered in a way. So so that'll be going on, so we won't send any folks there. I think she's expecting nearly 50 volunteers over there alone, so
Yeah,
that's
I know
pretty
they
sweet.
did Crash Pond. I know they did
Yep.
behind Ashcroft.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the areas that were
There's so many spots. There's so many
delegated, but
spots.
when you highlight where you want people, it's easier to send them than to have them look at a map and say, oh, I think maybe I could go over here, So
Oh no, yeah, I was planning on directing people where to go. I wasn't gonna let them just wander
maybe
around.
Renee will take a drive-by through the town and look at the roads and determine which ones are in the biggest need,
Mhm.
Maybe you, or both of you can go together to determine it, but it's anywhere that there's fast food sold for sure, because the people just toss it out the window. And I know that's a very frustrating thing. And the schoolyards, a lot of times, historically, they've reached out to the PTAs to have kids do the cleanups in the schoolyards. But I don't know if there's time for that this year, but you may want to try.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've had this, and Joe's had the scout groups out there too, working with the scouts. But again, we're at a tight time frame, so we just try to get the word out as much as possibly we can. And again, you have, again, needles and, medical waste and things like that. I know we've done the past, Karen, we didn't have things, we just had caution people, right? That was basically how we did that. I can't remember.
We had a little sheet that we would hand out to whoever the person was in charge of their little group, of things to not touch, that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that we didn't want them to pick up, but they could alert somebody that where the items were, so they could be properly disposed of.
Last time we did this, we had a lot of grabbers that worked really well, the grabbers for the pickups.
Yeah, we didn't. I don't know if we'll have any grabbers left, because people don't return those.
No, they don't. Some did. I'm going to use my snake tongue.
Yeah, I don't know if I would pick up anything without one of those grabbers, to be honest.
Yeah.
I have snake tongues that work well. So.
I know I came in late, but the waterfront access points, are those going to make it onto the list for Project Green Sweep for people to go down to those?
We could.
Well, they are all part of that. Yeah.
I think
it's all part.
I think we should. I know, mine the address might have been a little hard to follow, but all of the ones, I mean, it's all waterfront, and every single one that I went to had, garbage from the waterway
Yeah, we
accumulate.
had Bonstock, and Bonstock would be a good spot too.
Yeah.
Same thing
Yeah,
with the boat ramp.
Took the grapple truck to Bond's dock last year and just literally picked up all the reeds and filled up the whole grapple truck. So that was cool.
Last time we had an actual boat that went out into the river and did some cleanup in the actual river. I don't know who arranged that, but
The river cleanup people, yeah.
Yeah,
They're
they'll
doing
be
it,
at
right?
Bridgeway as well.
good.
Cool. But yeah, so it's a joint program again, like we've done in the past.
Yes,
I'm really
yeah, I know there's been talk of splitting them in the future. I don't know what everyone's appetite is for that, or why they ever were mashed together, but I'm down either way.
It's just a day of cleaning, that's all. It's like, one big thing, so.
I was looking
Does it
forward
have
to
to be together?
it's on May 1st because I will be out of town.
That was a bummer. Hopefully, we'll have the date set much more in advance next time, so we're not messing around with that. Anything else on Green Sweep?
We can add a lot. It's as you go through it, Kelly, you can see it just gets big. It becomes a big monster. It's bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
The idea here was I really feel good that you're doing it this year and that this is going to happen. But I think that really try to keep it as simple as possible. Let's not try to bite the elephant up in one chew this year, because if we're just doing something, it's better than what's been done, nothing last year and the year before. So let's just try to get it started again. I think that'll be just great.
Perfect.
Also try to, if people can, you want at the end, say we collected X amount of garbage. So if we can try to figure out a way to estimate.
Yeah, we'll be weighing everything that we bring to the transfer station. So we'll have a number, which I was told they've done in years past. So we should have that all organized. I talked to Highway about that already. So.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Cool. That's all I have on Green Sweep. And then Peters Lane subdivision, I have one update on, or two updates. I have spoken with the property owner because I know you folks were interested in acquiring that property and incorporating it into Roosevelt. I've spoken with the property owner and he has set up a variety of scenarios that he'd consider selling to the town, weird land swaps and tax payments and all kinds of stuff. I don't even remember them all, but that's been referred to the mayor and to the town attorney, so it's kind of with them now to discuss and see if there's some sort of deal that could be hashed out.
Aaron?
Which property was that?
It's a property on Peters Lane. It's almost 10 acres. So as you're going down to Roosevelt on Peters Lane, it's on your right. That's kind of the best description I can give. It's a vacant 10-acre parcel. Very nice parcel of land. And they were supposed to submit a bunch of additional information for our inland wetlands meeting next week, and I have not heard a peep from them. So we will likely be tabling their application anyway. So hopefully more to come.
Okay.
Aaron has one more.
As I said earlier, I was listening to the Channel 79 today, and the Roosevelt Forest Commission is trying to get the property up off Beaver Dam donated by St. James Church to the open space, which, they should kind of include us in that discussion, but they're working on that according to what that meeting said. So I don't know if you can follow up with that.
Yeah. I should probably have told you guys that I'm working on that. Sorry, I'm like single track mind here. I've been talking with the property manager for the diocese, and it may not. They're still trying to figure out, I guess, whether it's owned by the diocese or it's actually owned by St. James. So they're trying to figure out, I guess, who actually has control over that property, if it's St. James or the diocese, and that will determine who we have further conversations with. But Joe Gresco has also reached out to the property manager offering any support an encouragement for them to either hopefully donate to the town or for the town to acquire it some other way.
What does the land records say as far as the deeding? I mean, there's got to be an ownership on the deed.
It says St. James Roman Catholic Church, so
So that would be it wouldn't be the diocese then, it would be the church.
right, yeah. So, but I started my journey with Andrew, the property manager. So he's talking with his team and talking with St. James, and they're powwowing over it. So I don't want to interject in whatever they're doing. So I've just been touching base with them every so often to see how things are going. And
Okay.
That property has been offered years ago. I'm talking years and years and years ago. Bill probably remembers. Karen, you probably remember. Joe, you probably remember. That property has been was talked about, and so hopefully we could. I mean, again, it would be nice. So.
There used to be a pavilion there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. One of our classmates, Karen, brought it to our attention. Got to be 12 years ago, 13 years ago. Can't remember what his name is though. He was on St. James board or something like that. He came and said that they thought about giving the property to the town because there was no reason for it. They were never going to do anything with it, and they felt it was liability. Somebody get hurt on the property, and that would be an issue. That was it. Hopefully, it'll make a full circle, come back and be part of town property. That'd be great.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, old business. Anything else on that? Old business. Anything on old business? Old business. The only old business that I could think of is that Kelly and Laura and I were on the listening session with the Remington Woods property with give me the name of the organization, please.
Sierra Club.
Sierra Club. Thank you very much. And it was a long, involved process. We were on it for what, 3 hours, maybe longer, 10, 12 hours, maybe. It was a long time. I think we had 6 people that were on the call, if I remember correctly. It was just basically a listening session, ideas of what people think about the property and what they think about Stratford and what they think about open space. It was, I didn't take notes, so unless Laura or Kelly can elaborate, it was a long process. It was, if we were in a room, it would have been thousands and thousands of sticky notes on the wall. But basically that's what went through it. I thought it was good. She did a great job. The Ofaname from the Sierra Club did a great job of keeping it going. Good ideas came out of it. I'm not sure if she's going to put that information together, Kelly, and send it to you or send it to anybody, and take it for what it's worth. It was six of us there giving information to Sierra Club, and what they do with it. It was really just Sierra Club's to do with it, right? There was no connection to the town at all with this. Anything else, Kelly, on that? No? Laura?
I guess I would just add that the general consensus was that everyone wanted that property preserved. I think it was very unanimous. So that was kind of nice to hear. And there was representatives from redevelopment agency, planning, Bunnell High School. So it ran the span. It wasn't all just environmentally focused folks. So that was pretty cool to see.
Right. Yes, that's right. We had the head of the science department at Bunnell, and he's an old friend of our. Yep. And we had Peter Bowe. Yeah, was there.
Yep.
Hadn't seen him for. And the gentleman from one of the other commissions. What was he? He was from Wetlands. Kelly, where was he from?
There was Harold, who's the planning commission chair, and then there was
That's what was planning.
I'm blanking on his name, but I could see his face. The chair of RDA, redevelopment agency. George Perham, he was on as well.
Randy?
All right. So interesting. It was an interesting mix, and again, if we get anything off of that, we'll send it to you guys so you can take a look at it.
If I may.
Yes, Joseph.
So May 11th, Corteva is having their reinstituting their biannual update on what their how the progress of the remediation is going. Yeah, I got sent a Zoom link, so I will forward it to Kelly, and then if you want to join, feel free. And I'm also going to be getting my own update from Corteva as to what the latest plan is in their minds for that property. So keep your fingers crossed. So
Okay.
Yeah, I would like that link as well.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Joe, can you send it to all of us, please?
We'll get it to you.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it to you.
Kelly, I don't have all of your addresses, but she does. So
Okay.
We'll give it to, I get you, Eileen, and then we'll get it out to everybody else. Yep,
All
no
right,
problem.
awesome.
I can chain myself.
They're gonna do it as a Zoom, right, Joe? They're not doing it as a trip.
No, it's going to be via Zoom, but I'm hoping that it's going to give us some good news on how far they are with the remediation. And I don't want to call them on the carpet for what they're going to do, but I want to get my own little update.
Yep, cool, excellent. I'd like to see the pond refilled. That'd be nice to see it refilled. That'd be cool.
Well, I mean, I think they have refilled it, but we can't get access, so to see it. So
via Zoom.
This is
right.
my number one priority. So.
All right.
I appreciate it.
Big priority, that's for sure.
Well.
All right.
No pressure.
Anything in old business?
No.
Okay. New business. Anything new business? Joseph. I'm gonna go to you now because as a rep. Anything on your end that you want to bring up to the commission?
There is an invitation that's been put out to the Conservation Commission if you want a tour of the new Cops Island. The Norman Bloom has purchased what was Brown's Marina, and they are renovating it with new docks, and they are making it more of a environmentally friendly waterfront use through multiple plans. We've been able to get them a permit to sell unprocessed product out of the location, meaning just raw oyster and then prepared but not cooked. And they have some good plans for down there. They've cleaned up and the whole 9 yards. And I've known Norman for quite a long time, and he just helped with a donation to the Houstonic River cleanup when I told him about it. So they're a good corporate citizen, and they're willing to open up the doors if you guys are interested in a date. So maybe preferably for me after June 9th. But the invitation is out there.
Will there be a raw bar?
Well, that's one of the reasons. Oh, we kidding? He's going to have product there.
That's the reason I would go.
Yeah, so not that's my ulterior driving motive, but hey.
Boss, man. Okay.
That was it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And also, since you're still on, and Kelly and I and Joe were at a meeting that was brought together with the mayor's office and Senator Murphy, who came in to get some information on coastal resiliency and waterfront use. I thought, Joe and Kelly, it was a good meeting. It was kind of taken over by a couple people, which normally happens, but that's okay. It was FEMA people took it over, and the other gentleman, he spends a lot of time and effort getting things done, so that's okay. But I don't know if you have anything to back on that. It was nice to have the senator in, nice to have him listening about the coast. He is now, if I'm trying to remember, he's co-chair of that committee in DC. Was it co-chair or chair?
He's
co-chair.
He's the Senate chair of
Senate chair, right?
Yes, of the committee that oversees FEMA. And his goal, so he says, is to use some of the FEMA money for prevention and not just post-disaster. So there are going to be applications up the wazoo, but the town is probably going to be focusing in on the application to shore up the area around the water treatment facility, only because that getting inundated can't happen because there's no when that thing was renovated in the early 2000s, there was no release valve. So if there was ever a combined sewer overflow that inundated the water treatment facility, it's not going to go into Housatonic River. It's going to go back up into people's homes. And subsequently, the same situation could occur if we ever, and almost occurred in Superstorm Sandy. It got to within 10 feet of it getting inundated, and that can't happen. So the big project is to shore up that facility. We've already gotten a $2.7 million grant that Rosa got for us for the design, and we're hoping that Senator Murphy can help guide some federal funds this way, so we can construct basically a berm around it, so that it's it's a 500-year level kind of berm. Might look unsightly, but hey, I'd rather have that than sewage coming back up into my house. So that's where we are.
Okay. Kelly, anything else you remember from the meeting? It was a good meeting. I thought it was good. There was a lot of people from around the region that were talking about coastal resiliency. What I took from and of course I'll take this, but from the senator, was that he wants to make sure when they're doing these kind of work that we're looking at both the conserving nature and the environment, and also worrying about people, also getting people to be able to utilize the waterfront. And then it was nice to be able to tell them that we were working on the this project with the waterfront areas for the town. So again, he was appreciative of that. And then he was doing a listening session a couple days before that on just getting people, getting kids out in recreation and getting back out into the world. So it was good to listen to. So that's really just I wanted to keep you guys appraised of that. Anything else? New business? Anything, Kelly, you want to bring up on the remediation, Raymark remediation around? I know there's we talked about they're working on the woods right by Worcester Park.
Yes, we have bi-weekly calls with the whole project team, federal, state, local, and we had our call this past Tuesday or today. And as many of you know, they've been doing a lot of investigation in the woods to the north of Quayle Street, up by Worcester, and they finally have found the northern limit of Raymark waste. So we're all very excited.
Wow. They were going deep in there, boy.
Yeah, they had to keep stepping out, and they thought that they had previously had that delineated very well, and they did not. So I'm very excited that they have figured that out. I think the volume has doubled what they thought it was, or thereabouts, so don't quote me on that. So that's very exciting. Other than that, I think everything is going kind of accordingly. Nothing new or too exciting to comment on.
Okay.
I think that's everything.
Just one of the places that we had cleaned up a few years ago, Laura and I cleaned up right down by the Hunter Haven property. Turned out to be one of the heaviest toxic waste areas on the map there. So I'm just wondering, is that some place we should stay away from this year? Just don't dig deep.
We also cleaned up in front of the condos, which is also on that EPA list. And I'm doing I'm going to work with Department of Health and the EPA officials to do a public information event for the people, the neighbors that live off Quayle.
Perfect. Yeah, that's one thing where as Raymark branches out into additional neighborhoods, we really want to try and get the word out to folks that maybe weren't paying attention because it wasn't in their backyard. But now we're venturing out into different neighborhoods. So as much as we can get folks on the Raymark Community Action Group, CAG, Community Action Group meetings, the better. And those are the last Wednesday, I think, of every month, and they're all virtual. And again, that's townofstratford.com/R Raymark. If you guys want to hop on those, there's a link on there and you guys can all call in. So I encourage everyone to participate. They give a really good presentation and you can ask them any question you want on Raymark and they will answer it if they can, or get you an answer. So.
Okay.
The
Good to know.
last one, the question was, is that Raymark, especially off of Quail Street, was it leaching down into the water course that then would go into Worcester Pond? And they basically said no, but keep an eye on that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the primary Raymark constituents are asbestos, PCBs, and heavy metals, and those bind to sediments pretty well, so they're not as likely to leach. I mean, they certainly can in high concentrations, but they're a little less likely. So, but they don't think that that the actual contaminated soil is extending down to Bruce Brook. But we are hopeful. Or my hope is, at least, and I know I've been talking to John Casey about this, is that the restoration may look a little different. We were hoping to do some sort of floodplain restoration there, because that's what that would have been in the past, as opposed to an upland woodland. But we'll see. It depends on the nature and the depth of all the Raymark waste out there. If that.
Hi, it's Jen Bradai. I just wanted to mention I'm part of the CAG, the Citizens Advisory Group, and the Raymark cleanup team knows that for District 6, I'm close to Worcester. I'm kind of our point person, and I've let folks know that there is going to be a community meeting. So, Laura, I don't want to duplicate efforts. We can certainly work together on making sure folks are in the loop.
I'm sorry.
Everybody catch that?
Kind of garbled.
Oh, it's Jen. Can you hear me?
Jen, you want to? Jen, try that again.
Okay, hang on a sec. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to mention that I'm on the Citizens Advisory Group, and the Raymark team, so Olivia and Andrea and Jim DiLorenzo know that I'm our point person for this area for Worcester. So if I know there's going to be a public meeting, and I've let people know there will be a public meeting, and the cleanup was supposed to take place at Worcester in the summer. Now I guess they pushed it back to the fall, so I don't want to duplicate any efforts for a public meeting. Maybe there can be a couple of them, but just want to put that out there.
Jen, I would appreciate your help getting some information out communication-wise to some of the people in your group.
Yeah, I've been doing it.
And yeah, I think that we're planning something for May 12th.
Oh, I have not heard from the Raymark team. Okay, I will follow up with them because I reminded Jim that that's why I'm going to these meetings for the last 2 years every month.
That's just one of the dates that we talked about. I don't know if anything's finalized, but we talked about May 12th. We wanted to do it sooner rather than later, even though the project is being pushed to the fall.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you completely.
I'm very concerned that I don't even think anybody should be in that woods right now, even though the EPA people seem to think that it was okay. But I know if I lived there and if that was my backyard, I'd like to know what was going on.
Absolutely.
So I'd touch base with you when we get some information finalized. And
well, I'm just going to send a note to Jim because that's anyway. Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you.
This is what I've talked with about and Andrea.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to coordinate that up. Okay, thank you. All right. Anything else, gentlemen and ladies? Are we all good? Anything new? Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Thank you all. Have a great evening. I'm now going on to my next Zoom meeting. So
thank you.
Appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a good your month. We'll see.
First event.
We'll see you at cleanup. Green
Sounds
Street
good.
guys.